Hi everyone, in this tutorial we're gonna go ahead and create another Android application. So just click on this start a new Android Studio project, and for the application name just type in here app 30 and then click on next, and then here choose API 16 Android 4.1 Jelly Bean for minimum SDK. Next, here choose blank activity. Next, and then here click on finish. Okay, now let's actually select this hello world text view here and then press on delete key on your keyboard, and then double click on this res folder, layout, activity underline main.xml, and then here choose this floating action button here, and then press on delete key on your keyboard. So now let's actually go back inside this content underline main.xml, and here I want to actually design the user interface of our application. So first of all, let's actually drag a linear layout vertical, okay, at the center of this relative layout here, okay. And now as you can see, there are some paddings here, as you can see. So let's actually go inside this text tab here, and here you can see these padding values here, okay. Padding bottom, padding actually left, right, and top. So these attributes are for this relative layout, okay. And this linear layout, as you can see, that we actually drag into this relative layout here, as you can see, this is here, okay. Orientation vertical, layout width match parent, layout height match parent, and here as you can see it says layout center vertical true, okay. So this layout is actually at the center of this relative layout, okay. And here it says layout center horizontal true. So again, as you can see, it is at the center, okay. So hopefully that makes sense. And now let's actually drag a large text view, okay, into this linear layout vertical. So put it at the center of this linear layout vertical and double click on it, okay. And for the text, just type in here, this is our first activity, okay. And then press on enter key on your keyboard. Now let's actually go inside this text tab here, as you can see. And now as you can see, our text view is here, okay. Now you can see this, it says layout width wrap content, layout height wrap content, text appearance large, okay. And the text is, this is our first activity, okay. And the ID is this, okay. And the layout gravity is actually center horizontal. So I can actually add another attribute here. I can say just a text size, okay. And for the text size, I can just type in, for example, number 60 dp. So dp stands for density pixels, okay. So now let's actually go back inside this design tab here, as you can see. And here you can see now our text is now much larger, okay. The size of our text is much larger. Now let's actually drag a button into this linear layout vertical and below this text view here. And let's actually double click on it. And for the text, just type in here, let's go to second activity, okay. And for the ID, just type in here btn second activity, okay. And then press on enter key on your keyboard. So now let's actually go inside this text tab here again, and now you can see our button is here, okay. It says layout width is wrap content, layout height is wrap content. Again, as you can see, the text is let's go to a second activity, okay. And as you can see, the ID is btn second activity, and the layout gravity is center horizontal, okay. And I can actually add other attributes, for example padding, okay. And for the padding, I can just assign the value, for example 30, so 30 dp, okay. And now let's actually go back inside this design tab, and now as you can see, the padding is actually much bigger, okay. So let's actually go back inside this text tab here again. Now I can actually add other values, for example margin, okay. And for the margin, again, I can just assign a value 30 dp. Now let's actually go back inside this design tab. Here you can see now there is a margin here, okay. So as you can see here, because I just only referred to padding or just refer to margin and not other, for example, specific attributes such as padding left or padding right, it's going to actually assign this value to all of those directions. Okay, padding left, padding right, padding top, and padding bottom. Okay, or here, as you can see, this value is for margin top, margin bottom, margin left, and margin right. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's actually go back inside this design tab here. Now, as you can see, the design of this layout is actually finished. Now I want to actually create another layout, okay, called second activity. So let's actually click on this view here, tool windows, and then click on project. Okay, and now let's actually select this layout folder here. Okay, right click on it, new, and then click here. As you can see, we have this XML here. Okay, here just select this layout XML file. Okay, and for the layout file name, just type in here second activity. So remember that for the name of the layout, for the name of your XML file, you need to actually start your XML file name with a lowercase letter. Okay, so for example, here I can just type in second, and here, in order to separate two words, here for my layout name, I can just put in an underlined character. Okay, activity. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And here for the root tag, here just type in here relative layout, and make sure that you actually write this name correctly, okay, as the same name here, relative layout, and click on finish. So as you can see here, we have our layout here. This is our second activity.xml file. And if I actually go back inside, go inside this text tab here, as you can see, it says relative layout. Okay, so if you write this name incorrectly, it's going to actually show you an error inside this design tab. Okay, so make sure that you actually write this relative layout name correctly. Okay, so if I actually put an S here, and if I go back inside this design tab, it says the following classes could not be found. Okay, so if I go back inside this text tab, now I can just delete this S here, and now the error is gone. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And now let's actually design this layout here. Okay, so just double click on this second underline activity.xml here in order to make this area wider. And now I want to actually design this layout. So here I can just put in a linear layout vertical into this relative layout here. Okay, so just put it at the center of this relative layout. And as you can see, there are no paddings here. Okay, so if I go back inside this text tab here, as you can see, we cannot see these the padding attributes here. So I can just add that value, add that attribute here. Okay, add that value here. So I can just type in padding. Okay, and if I press an enter key on my keyboard, now I can assign a value for the padding. So I can just assign the value 16 for the padding here. Okay, 16 dp. And if I go back inside this design tab, now you can see these paddings here. Okay, so now let's actually drag a large text view at the center of this linear layout vertical. Double click on it, and here for the text, just type in here this is our second activity. Okay, and then press on enter key on your keyboard. Now let's actually go back inside this text text tab here. Okay, and now I can actually add another attribute here, text size. Okay, and for the text size, I can just put in the value, for example, 70. Okay, 70 dp. And if I go back inside this design tab, now you can see this value here. Okay, and I can actually change that value here again, for example, number 90. Okay, and if I go back inside this design tab, now you can see this value here. Okay, and I can just put in an exclamation mark at the end of this text here. Okay, and inside this design tab, now you can see this exclamation mark here. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. And now let's actually go back inside this main activity.java file here, and here let's actually delete these lines of code that are actually related to the options menu. Okay, and then delete these lines of code that are related to the floating action button. And here let's actually create a button object here.